Hey everyone, welcome back to Jim's EV Adventures and our continuing coverage of the GM Empower event. In part one, we covered the massive grid crunch that's coming from AI and data centers, and GM's big and bold move with sodium ion and other advanced battery storage. But today in part two, we're talking about something that we really only touched on in part one, something much closer to home for every EV owner, turning your GM vehicle into a real power plant that can back up not only your house, but maybe even support your local grid. Now, EVs sit idle 95% of the time, and GM already has 250,000 bidirectional capable EVs on US roads today. And GM leads the EV pack in this technology. They have even more than does Tesla. Now, this is part two covering what I learned at that GM Power event. So let's peel back the layers on vehicle to home and vehicle to grid and get started. But back in the office where it is much cooler. See you there. GM is building an entire ecosystem around this particular idea. Wade Sheffer from GM Energy explained it clearly at the GM Empower event.
Today, many GM EVs can do more than just store energy for driving. They can actually return energy to a properly equipped home during an outage. This makes that vehicle battery a source of backup power. The core technical idea here is bidirectional charging. That same capability points to a bigger opportunity beyond the home. Bidirectional charging can help shift energy used across the grid by drawing power when supply is high and sending it back when demand is high. This is really where EVs start to matter, even for those that don't own them.
Take the GMC Sierra EV as an example. With over 200 kilowatt hours of battery capacity paired with GM's home energy system, it can power an average home for approximately 5 days. 5 full days. That's the kind of capability that gives real peace of mind here in Florida, where we deal with hurricanes and storms on a regular basis. And here's the best part. GM Energy's virtual chargers are now officially live. For eligible GM EVs and home energy systems, you can support the grid and participate in these services with no new hardware required. This isn't some future promise. It's available today for hundreds of thousands of GM EVs already on the road. And as a high mileage owner, I love the idea that the vehicle I already own can do double duty. Well, not the Bolt EUV, but the Bolt EV can. GM is not trying to do this in isolation. They're actually building strong partnerships with utilities across the country. The standout example right now is with PG&E in the Bay Area. They've set a very ambitious target, 130,000 GM EVs on the road in PG&E territory by 2030, with 52,000 of them actively supporting the PG&E grid. To put that scale into perspective, that amount of energy could support every home in San Francisco for more than half a day. Patty Poppe, CEO of PG&E, was fired up about this on the stage. She said their grid desperately needs EVs, particularly bidirectional EVs, that can be optimized and contribute to the grid, the first flexible demand there ever has been anywhere. Now, EVs can charge at optimal times when supply is high and send power back during the peak demand periods. PG&E is implementing a distributed energy resource management system, or DERMS, to get better visibility and control over these resources. Right now, the grid in many areas runs at only about 45% utilization. So better optimization means lower costs and a more resilient system for everyone. GM is also running real-world validation. They have a pilot program with DTE Energy using 30 GM employee homes, their vehicles, and energy systems to simulate demand during response events. This is giving them high-quality data to make sure everything works reliably at scale. And they're not stopping there. GM Energy is actively working with Southern California Edison, Duke Energy, Green Mountain Power, and many others. The goal is to centralize incentives by your zip code or your address so owners get every possible savings on both energy bills and total EV ownership costs. For someone like me who's been living with EVs for 7+ years and saving $145 to $200 a month on fuel, this kind of integration could add even more value to my drive. So what does this actually mean for your EV sitting in your driveway? First, it means a rock-solid home backup during outages, something every Florida owner understands the value of. Second, the chance to earn bill credits or incentives by shifting energy use and supporting the grid. Third, lower overall cost of ownership through smarter optimized charging. And fourth, a stronger, more resilient local grid that benefits everyone, not just EV drivers. GM is actually thinking about the long term. Sterling Anderson mentioned their next generation compute platform launching in vehicles starting in 2028. Now, what that means is these vehicles will have approximately 35 times the onboard inference capability. That means powerful edge computing right in the vehicle co-located with the battery so it doesn't stress the grid. Smart, localized processing that keeps your EV valuable and useful for years to come. Now, as someone who's put real miles on these cars through all kinds of conditions, I see this bidirectional future as one of the biggest untapped advantages of EV ownership. Time will tell, and more research needs to be done, but the future looks very, very promising. Well, now that's going to wrap up part 2, how GM is turning your EV into a home backup power plant and a grid resource through bidirectional charging and serious utility partnerships. From over 250,000 vehicles today to big targets with PG&E and others, this is happening right now. And it's about right here that I have noticed that there have been many comments on part 1 of this video talking about how much this is going to cost the consumer. Well, for me here in Florida, I'm going to spend a good amount of money on a good generator that can back up my entire house. So why not take that money and put it into a vehicle? And then couple that with solar, and then couple that with paying the grid back with some of the charges that I take off the grid. And how does that help? It helps stabilize the grid for all my friends and neighbors in the local area. So yes, for sure, it costs a little bit of extra money up front, but I'm going to have a generator anyway, so why not, again, put that into a vehicle? And secondly, the money that I'm going to get back from the grid by supporting the grid with my vehicle should more than offset any of the costs that I put into it up front. And remember, this is going to last for years, not just 1 or 2 years like your average generator. Now, I hope this in-depth series is helping you understand the real future and promises of EVs. If it is, please do hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming in part 3. Also, drop a comment below. Would you want your EV to power your home during an outage, or support the grid, or both? Have you ever lost electrical power during a natural disaster? I'm again trying to read every single comment about this series, so keep them short and to the point. Full sources, the event transcript, and links are going to be in the description of part 3, so stay tuned. We'll wrap this up in the next video, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.